In this video, I'll be comparing two popular slow masticating juices, AMZChef and Canoly. So let's get started. I recently reviewed both of these slow juices and I'm sure I'm going to get a few questions about how they compare. So I put together this video. Here we have AMZChef model 1902B and here is Canoly 003 model. Both juices come with similar accessories like two collection cups, a food pusher and a cleaning brush, so there's no big difference there. The biggest difference that you will find is in the processing. AMZChef has built-in cutting blades and the feed container is equipped with a triple filtration process using metal filters which start with coarse, then fine and then ultra fine holes. Canoly has a detachable filter, also made from metal with a one size hole going all the way around. The built-in cutting blades on AMZChef make it easier to deal with whole fruits as it chops it all up before juicing it. Canoly, on the other hand, requires you to cut larger ingredients into smaller pieces because it doesn't have the same cutting system. Although it can manage maybe one round of a whole apple, it does struggle after the first one, and it's always best to cut them into smaller pieces before placing them in the feed container, otherwise you will get a lot of blockages or create extra work for yourself. But smaller ingredients like carrots work fine, there's no need to chop them up. Let's see how they compare using the same foods and quantities. I tried juicing 4 lemons in each juicer. I peeled them but left them whole. AMZ struggles with soft citrus fruits as they always seem to get caught on the cutting blades, and it needs help with both the pusher or removing the fruits from the blade by hand. It always tends to leave chunks spinning behind in the feed container. Canoly performs better by instantly crushing the lemons. Although it did need a little help with the food pusher, it still manages to juice through all the lemons. AMZChef gave 150 ml of lemon juice and Canoly had slightly more at about 170 ml of juice since it was able to juice through all 4 lemons. Both AMZChef and Canoly were able to crush through and filter out the seeds from the lemons. Canoly produced slightly more pulp than AMZChef. But the biggest difference was clearly visible in the juice. Canoly had way more larger bits of pulp in the juice when compared to AMZChef, which was smoother. When juicing celery, I could fit up to 3 stalks in each juicer using the center hole, although you can also chop them in half and throw them in the container if you have a bigger batch to juice. AMZChef worked well once it got some help pushing the celery stalks down, and it managed to juice through all of them. Canoly also worked well with 3 celery stalks once I helped push them towards the auger. Both AMZChef and Canoly squeezed about 100 ml of celery juice from 3 celery stalks. AMZChef produced about 4 ounces of pulp. Canoly also produced roughly about 4 ounces of pulp, if not a tiny bit more by the looks of it. While the pulp from AMZChef was a bit more stringy compared to Canoly's shredded texture, both of them were slightly wet and felt almost the same level of wetness. When I strained the celery juice, you can see that Canoly had slightly more pulp compared to AMZChef. In terms of juice yield, both machines extracted a generous amount of juice, especially from fruits with high juice content like watermelon and oranges. The filtration system on AMZChef does a fantastic job of catching most of the pulp, leaving less behind in the juice and the filter area. What you want to see is how much of the pulp came through the outlet and how much was trapped inside the machine, leading to potential blockages. So first, the filter area. AMZChef would always have very little pulp stuck in the filter. Most of the time, Canoly also had little trapped around the filter, but it does struggle with hard apple skin, leaving most of it behind, and it's impossible to continue juicing. So it's always best to remove the skin from apples before you begin juicing. What really impressed me about AMZChef is that no pulp ever got stuck under the auger. This is the first juicer I've used where that hasn't happened, which is a big plus. With Canoly, pulp often got trapped under the auger and in the juicing bowl, whereas the bowl for AMZChef stayed mostly clear, except when dealing with stringy fruits or vegetables. The Canoly, on the other hand, chops all the stringy ingredients up more effectively, pushing it through the pulp outlet more easily. You can definitely see a difference in the stringy texture from the celery pulp between the two juices. That being said, slow and steady might have its advantages because, as I mentioned earlier, AMZChef results in less pulp in the final juice. AMZChef has a simpler design with less parts since the filter is built onto the end of the feed container. Canoly does have the extra step of removing and replacing the filter, but that's not all. Canoly seems to have a lock feature for the auger, which many do get confused with. If the auger is in lock position, you can't remove it together with the juicing bowl. To remove it, there are 2 ways to do it. If you still have the juicer plugged in after juicing, you can press the reverse button for 1 or 2 seconds. Or if, like me, you've already unplugged it and started taking it apart, then you just need to rotate the auger clockwise. Then you can pull off both the juicing bowl and the auger and then remove the auger. So if I rotate counterclockwise, it will lock the auger and the juicing bowl in place, and I won't be able to separate it from the base. It seems to be a safety feature, like I said, but it does get very confusing, and I know a few of my viewers have been frustrated by this. Cleaning both juices is fairly straightforward. Although the design on AMZChef is to reduce the amount of parts to assemble and disassemble, some may find the feed container a little cumbersome to hold and clean due to it being slightly heavier with the weight of the cutting blade and then the filter attached to it. And due to the stainless steel components, it's best not to place this in the dishwasher. Since the filter for Canoly is larger, this means that there is more of it to clean. You have to work your way all around the filter with the cleaning brush to remove all the tiny bits of pulp. The noise levels to me are more or less the same. AMZChef has a continuous working time of 10 minutes and needs 10-minute breaks in between. Canoly has a runtime of 20 minutes and needs 5-minute breaks in between. Both machines are equipped with intelligent protection components, which means they will automatically shut down due to excessive overload or overheating. AMZChef has a wait time of 1 hour and Canoly has a wait time of 30 minutes. They both have cylinder feed containers, as does the base of Canoly, which also has a plastic outer shell. AMZChef has a square-shaped base with a stainless steel body with side ventilations to allow for heat outflow. In terms of counter space, Canoly's cylindrical design takes up less room, making it a better option for smaller kitchens, whereas AMZChef's bulkier base and slightly wider feed container might need more space on your countertop. Due to the stainless steel base and the steel cutting blades, this also makes it slightly heavier than Canoly by a few pounds. You can also see and feel a big difference in the size of the auger between AMZChef and Canoly. If you're looking for a juicer that delivers smoother juice with less pulp, AMZChef's built-in blades and triple filtration system are excellent. It's great for hands-free juicing of larger batches and whole foods thanks to its auto cutting blades. The Canoly juicer is a better fit for those with compact spaces, as it's lighter and takes up slightly less counter space. If you're patient and don't mind doing a little bit of extra prep, like cutting fruits and veggies into smaller pieces, or if you're okay with tiny bits of pulp in your juice, then the Canoly is also a good option. Alright guys, I hope you found this video useful. I will leave links to the full reviews in my description box. Please go ahead and watch them if you want to see more about these. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing, and I hope to catch you in my next video.